Hey moms, it's Kristen Horler here with another Mom Strong interview. I'm so excited to introduce you to Holly Bollinger. Holly, you want to say hi to our moms and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hey everybody, I'm Holly Bollinger. I'm a certified pediatric sleep sense consultant and also the mom of four. I'm currently working from home like everybody else and just really trying to continue to help and support moms in a new way than I have.
Awesome. So you are a certified pediatric sleep consultant. So
Yes.
want to dive into that a little bit more. I've got some great resources from you to share with our moms. But first, I want to just rewind maybe 8 or 10 weeks. I don't know if you can remember that far back.
Yeah.
It's a blur for a lot of us. It's Tuesday,
Yeah.
right?
That's right. Yeah.
So if you can like rewind maybe 10 weeks and think about, okay, 4 kids, school, work, like what was your work life, home life like 10 weeks ago? And then fast forward to today, like what has shifted for you as a working mom?
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said, have 4 children. My oldest is 7. So I have a 7, I have a 6-year-old. Actually, 10 weeks ago, he was still 5 in kindergarten. And I had a 4-year-old and I have a 2-year-old. So for me, it has absolutely been, wake up at 7 a.m., get the 2 olders off to elementary school, kind of, give it a whoo sigh of relief till 3 o'clock. And I would bring my 4-year-old to preschool in the morning at the YMCA. And then it would be trying to maintain work and answer emails and talk to clients while balancing my daughter, and then really doing the connections in my phone calls during nap time. I mean, the epitome of a nap time warrior would be me. And really, when my children would get off the bus at 3 o'clock, I would have to kind of turn off the work hat for a little while, do after school snacks, homework, baseball and Boy Scouts, and then dinner, and having to remember right after the kids got on the bus in the morning to take out dinner, right? And if you don't, which you don't half the time, trying to figure out what to cross quickly, and then get everybody in bed, and then right back to work. I would do consultations at night. I would be doing phone interviews at night with potential clients. So, I mean, just like many of the other moms, multitasking is the name of the game.
Yeah, 4 children. Wow, I am impressed. So, I feel like this is a hilarious question to even ask, right? Even for me with 2 kids in high school, right? I don't have babies waking me up.
Yeah.
But I got to ask the question, why is sleep so important for families?
Well, sleep is incredibly important for families because it really helps with your immune boosting. It helps with your information processing. And let's not only keep this in mind for parents, right? It's really important, but it's really essential. And all of that good stuff happens for our children. They say that children who don't sleep get sick more often. And especially when you have school age children, or like me, you have a farm and they're licking everything. It's really, really important to make sure that their body is doing what it's supposed to do. And so, sleep is, it strengthens the immune systems. Like I said, cleansing that brain of those toxins that you build up throughout the day. It's really about an overall health for families, both big and small. I mean, the big one that I like to talk about when I do my seminars, first and foremost, for moms, is mood regulation, right? If you are sleep deprived, you are having a hard time having that patience for your husband, let's get real, or your spouse, or whoever you live with, as well as your children. So I really got into this for that, first and foremost, of I need to be well rested so that I could be the best that I could be. And that's what I really try to teach my clients, is that it's okay to need rest, right?
Right. And it's something that's so easily forgotten. I think it's easy to focus on, I shouldn't say easy, but there's a lot of conversations around fitness and a lot of conversations around
Yeah.
nutrition, maybe even hydration as a component to that. But I think sleep is often forgotten or not brought to the forefront as much of a priority. And it was interesting hearing you talk about the benefits for children as far as sleep goes and what they need, but also parents, moms, adults, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you what I really seek to change is that sleep deprivation is not a badge of honor. right?
No.
Our sleep needs don't change because we've had children. It's not like, oh, as many hormones and as many physiological changes as we have happening throughout pregnancy and postpartum, sleep needs is not one of them. And many moms somehow think that it's okay for you to be sleep deprived. And what do most people say to moms who are pregnant? Good luck ever sleeping again. I seek to change that because it's simply not true and it doesn't change. There's a healthy way to have your baby's needs met. And of course, there will be some sleepless nights. And I'm not saying that there shouldn't be, but it's all about hygiene, right? And hygiene appears in many different ways. And it's the education component that moms are left really without.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually have shifted my mindset as a working professional, as a working mom over the last couple of years. And a lot of it had to do with books I was reading, leadership books, and the conversation, of course, about fitness and nutrition, but the conversation about sleep. Busy professionals.
Yeah.
And realizing that I should strive, and I do now, strive for 8 or even 8.5 hours. And like,
exactly.
I only got 6, and I'm like, oh, I got to make up for that in the next 2 days because it's going to
exactly. And that's a good point. You can make up for sleep, and that's a lot of things that people, when I begin working with clients, one of the biggest things that I'll get from moms is that so and so is taking a 3-hour nap. Is that okay? And I say yes. It's called sleep debt. They're making up their sleep debt.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we talked a little bit about why sleep is so important for families, but what is age appropriate sleep? Because maybe what a 1-year-old needs is different than, say, a 16-year-old or a 46-year-old. So
absolutely. So what I like to start with is exactly what you were saying. Strive for that 8 hours. As an adult, it's okay for you to get somewhere between 7 and 9 hours. It's really baby dependent. It's really adult dependent. But as a general rule, when you bring a newborn home, most people say, oh yeah, I'm so lucky my baby sleeps. Well, that's because most newborns sleep 18 hours a day, right? So that's what, and I'm talking 24-hour periods here, not straight. But so a newborn should have 18 hours of sleep, but by the time you're reaching 3 years old, it's okay for you to have 12 hours of sleep. So in the first 3 years of life, you have a very big gap of what sleep needs are in a 24-hour period. But to break it down even further, you then have to think about naps and what happens as a baby grows. As most moms know, your baby changes dramatically within the first year. So we're coming home with a baby who's sleeping 18 hours a day and taking a nap every hour to hour and a half. I mean, sometimes it's 30 minutes. I have a visitor. No, not right now, honey.
And this is such a great example of how life can shift for us from working moms. Right?
And they're pretty good. I have to say, they know now, right? You say, not right now. They're like, and they scatter just as much as you do to get them out of the scene.
Oh, I love it. It's so sweet.
But also, then by 3 months, you start to have, everybody talks about that 4-month sleep regression, right? The 4-month sleep regression is really a 4-month sleep progression where actually how sleep happens in baby changes. They go from having 2 sleep cycles to having 4 sleep cycles. And then they're able to have a bit more stamina. So their sleep pressure is which is how fastly you need to take a nap, changes so rapidly within the first year. So that's really one of the reasons that working with a consultant is so valuable, because your baby, as soon as you think you've learned them, they're changing, especially within that first year, but also really until they drop that nap. The first 5 years of life, sleep needs are greatly different than they are with adults.
I wish I knew this information when my daughter was born 18 and a half years ago, because I had no idea. But yeah. She went everywhere with me. She slept in the stroller at our MOMLETA classes. She even as an infant slept while I was teaching spinning.
Yeah. And listen, that's what I always tell parents. They think that working with the sleep consultant is actually really stringent because I ask you to stay at home. What better time than quarantine, right? For the 2 weeks while we're doing it. But people always say, oh, this feels really tight. It feels like I can't have any flexibility. And to that, I say, the good thing is when your child is on a schedule and their schedule, they understand the sleep expectations. They're tired when they're tired and they sleep wherever. As a mom of 4, are you kidding me? My kids only sleep on the go practically, especially number 4. She had to, but I knew when she was tired. I recognized the cues. I used my education. So that's really what I want to bring to the table for other moms.
Oh, I remember putting my daughter in the stroller in the house with the little sunshade on the front and putting her in the
Right?
corner and she'd fall asleep because that was her
That's,
go-to place.
that was her go-to place. Exactly. So babies do what they know. And so thank you for making that point.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about let's just say I'm a new mom and I have a 6-week-old. Well, actually, let's back it up. Like when would someone even contact you about working with you?
So I always tell moms it's never too early and it's never too late, right? So really the education piece with the prenatal component is, what is sleep for a newborn? What does it look like? That gets into what I was saying, that a baby is overstimulated very easily. That's one of the components that they often talk about in newborn classes. But what does overstimulated look like? What does that mean? Why are they overstimulated? How do you know if they're overstimulated? So that's the education component when I teach prenatal classes. And really it's very similar for the first 4 months of life. When I work with clients of this age, it's really about the education. How do you allow your baby a little bit of space to try to learn intrinsic self-soothing skills, but also comfort them, especially in those early stages? You're recovering postpartum. You are working on your supply. So having the education of what is sleep, what is age-appropriate sleep, and how it looks is really important in those first 3 months. But post that, I always say we hit the ground running with sleep training. I'd also like to say I cannot stand the term sleep training. It makes babies sound like they're animals or like they're, your puppy that you're taking to school. It is not that, but it's sleep education, right? And so really at 4, learn how to teach your baby to have intrinsic self-soothing skills. And that is really what that process looks like would depend on your baby's age.
Maybe we can reframe that sleep training, because I was hesitant to even bring that word up.
I know. I
was thinking of a puppy, but it sounds to me like you're actually training the parent.
You're teaching them what are sleep cues, and all babies, unless there's some underlying health condition. And I always ask those very pointed questions. Have you talked to your pediatrician? First and foremost, let's always get it clear from your pediatrician. And everything that I recommend is within AAP guidelines. A baby is on his or her back. We are dealing with a bare crib. We are not having any elevated sleepers. We are making sure that you are there to support your child as they learn this skill. As much as it is about training the parents, it's also about the parents being really comfortable with the process. And that level varies for many different reasons. I suffered from postpartum anxiety, especially after my 4th. We were in the middle of doing a renovation, and all of those components feed into how I work with my clients. So
I want to back up a little bit to pregnancy, and I'm curious to know if, so for us, we eat dinner later. I'm up early in the morning, and, there's certain times of the day that we eat, right? So did the mother's, I guess, rhythms as far as sleep and food and fueling, do they affect the baby and the newborn baby? And then how long do those last for?
So there's a lot of evidence that a baby circadian rhythm begins to develop within the womb. So it happens in the later stages of your pregnancy, but absolutely making sure that you're eating healthy. I have a very good friend who actually teaches prenatal nutrition and then into toddler nutrition and adolescent nutrition. And she says very similar, your amniotic fluid, right? The baby gets used to whatever foods you're eating, and it's very similar in the case of sleep as well.
Yeah, because it always blows me away when, you're pregnant and the baby's up at 2 a.m, like, what are you doing? Or, whatever it might be.
There is a lot of evidence that baby association, right? How many times do you hear from parents that they say, my baby has day and nights confused? There is a way to sort of jump on that train as soon as a baby is born, that they can start to consolidate nighttime sleep or understand the difference. And there are environmental things that you can do to support that, as opposed to having a baby who's sleeping all day and up all night.
Okay.
And again, that's the education piece that's really lacking in our healthcare system, unfortunately. So again, that's part of being a sleep sense consultant, is why is this information not out there? Or why do you have to read a book this thick to get it when you're tired and you're pregnant? You have no energy to do that, and you're worried about decorating a nursery or whatever.
Well, aren't we lucky to have a mom like you and so many other women out there and professionals out there who are passionate about this, that you can take what you have learned and what you've educated yourself on and share that with other moms. So thank you for everything that you do.
Thank you.
So we've got moms in our community, I mean, pregnant with their first baby. They've got, there's moms with young children, not even in preschool or elementary school yet, all the way up to, I've got a child graduating from high school this week. So we got the whole gamut, right?
The whole McGillicuddy, that's
so
right.
So if you were to give like 2 takeaways, something that we can help our moms with today, what little nuggets can you share with us?
Routine, routine, routine. It goes for staying healthy, making sure that if you are working out, that you're doing it at the same time every day so that you're consistent with it. And the same goes for sleep. The more, and I nap, and I'm a nap, and I know that my sleep pressure reaches a height at around 3 o'clock, and I can take a 20-minute nap to relieve that. So if you are doing that as a pregnant mom, make sure that you're trying to do it the same time of day, because you have an internal circadian rhythm. That's science. There's no getting away from it. So the more routine you are in your bedtime and how you go to sleep, more importantly, for yourself as an adult, but also for your children, the better off you'll be, and the more likely that the children will adhere to it, if you will. My 7-year-old is the same routine that I did with him when he was a baby, and I finally learned about circadian rhythm and sleep pressure and normalizing. 20 to 30-minute bedtime routine, and we do it as adults, and we, for some reason, don't think that kids need it. If you're tired at night, you say, oh, okay, I'm going to take my shower. I'm going to brush my teeth. I'm going to read my book. And then when you're ready to go to sleep, you roll over, grab your favorite pillow, and you go to sleep. Children are no different than that. Where parents get confused, or where they start to encounter challenges, is that sometimes with their schedules, they're not able to have a typical routine, or they don't know how to get into one, right? So that's, again, that education component. Having a routine that happens at the same time every night tells your body what to do, and it's the same for children.
So before we wrap things up here, I would love to hear, what does your bedtime routine look like for yourself as an adult, as a mom?
Sure. So my bedtime routine is the exact same. It happens at around 10:30 p.m. every single night. I'm one of those weirdos who shower twice a day, so I can't. So I jump in the shower. After my shower, I brush my hair, I brush my teeth, I put my face lotion on, I put my pajamas on, I get into bed. I usually read a book, or I listen, or I meditate, depending on the night, and then I turn my light off and I go to sleep. And it's really, really important not to have electronics within an hour of you falling asleep. Especially for children, it's a bit longer. I would say no electronics after 5 p.m. For adults, it's a bit more unrealistic. If you could pull off no electronics past 5 p.m., I recommend it. I will often say, myself as a mom, like I said, I put the kids to bed at 7 and I go back to doing work emails. So I really try to cut it off an hour before. So around 9:30, I turn everything off, and I focus on that meditation and that education.
Oh, that's so great. And how many hours of sleep do you strive for each night?
A minimum of 7. My husband can do 6. And again, with adults, it's really dependent. But I'm 8. I'm a solid 8. I can't help
it. With you.
I'm 11 to 7 if I can help it.
Yeah. That's become my new normal too. It used to be 9 to 5, and now I'm like, I gotta rush anywhere at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Exactly.
Shifted a little bit.
You shift it, exactly.
It's fine. Temporary.
That's right. Oh my gosh, it was so funny. My husband had to get up and go somewhere this morning, and I was all excited. I was like, we have to get out of bed right away.
Got somewhere to go. Oh, Holly, I just want to thank you so much for your time today, for sharing your passion, your expertise. We will post up the links to your website, your social media sites, and then also I know you've got a great handout to share with our moms, so I will make sure that we post that up as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Again, so much for your time today.
I really, really appreciate it. It's been a blast.
Thank you.
Thank you.